Yo, what's going on today, YouTube? It's Rick here, and today we're dropping one of the first football videos on Ryan's channel. I know he hasn't talked about football in a while, but I've been talking to him, and we want to definitely integrate the NFL season into this YouTube channel of some sort. So we are going to do that today. I know I haven't been posting as much as I promised you guys I would on this channel. I personally told you guys that, and then magically bought a new house like 2 days later, and so if you can see, all my lights are taken down. The whole setup's taken down. It's been crazy around here. So we're moving this week, or partially this week, and then the next couple weeks we're going to be moving more. And so we're going to get there eventually. About a month from now, we'll be full into the new studio in the new house, and we'll get all that going. So just want to give you guys that heads up before we jump into some big topics here today. We are 3 weeks into the NFL season, and we have some, I'm going to give you guys like 6 topics here today. I'm just going to go over them that are either A, surprising, or just B, like, wow, like that's actually super impressive. And there's going to be a couple other that you're like, oh, that's not very good at all. So we're just going to start off today with what I personally think is one of my favorite ones. Coming from baseball, we're seeing it with Aaron Judge. Didn't get the contract he wanted. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson currently is the number 1 QB in football. After not getting paid, which everyone kind of felt like, hey, you know, if they're going to pay Kyler Murray, they're going to pay Russ all this money, like Lamar Jackson at least deserved a pretty good contract. I mean, yes, he can get hurt. He is 100% a liability in that category because just the way he plays, he takes hits. He's basically a running back. He's not the smartest with his hits. But as of right now, number 1 in passing TDs, number 1 in passer rating, and tied for the 4th rusher in the NFL. There's a reason he won unanimous MVP, and he's looking good. The Ravens, on the other hand, are having, in our lifetime, I'm 28 years old, the Ravens have always had a good defense. Their defense has some major holes right now, but Lamar Jackson, I don't want to talk about the Ravens that long, but Lamar Jackson is right now QB1 and the front runner for MVP. And I don't think there's any question on that. If he's going to keep rushing, he's going to rush for 1,000 yards again on this rate and lead the NFL in passing touchdowns. So if he can be that efficient, the Ravens are going to obviously be an issue. But man, that is super impressive so far. Next, this is just a giant shocker for me personally. Usually when you see these teams go off in the offseason and spend a ton of money from franchises that have been pretty much struggling for a while, it usually doesn't work out right away. But the Miami Dolphins are 3-0. 3-0 right now. And what's crazy about that is they obviously made the big accusations in the offseason, like Tyreek Hill, building up the line on both sides. They did everything that you want to do. But the thing is, it usually takes a few weeks to get into it. And arguably, they have the 3 very impressive wins. They beat the Patriots, which is never easy with Bill Belichick. It's never been an easy win in 20 years, basically. The Ravens, with a miraculous comeback. That should have never happened. The Ravens absolutely dropped the ball in that game. That was an L. That was bad on their part. But the Dolphins, they came back, man. They have the pieces to explode. Like Tyreek Hill got behind their defense twice, which I think no one has ever let happen because they know how fast he is. But they came back 142-38. Crazy game. That whole week 2 was insane with comebacks. And then this week, they had no reason beating the Bills. They had almost 300, I think it was like 290 something yards less offense than the Bills, and they still won. And the reason they won is because they were just so good in the red zone defense. What was it? 1st and 2 on the goal line? Like, they literally stopped Josh Allen, who is one of the better running quarterbacks in the league, and he's 6'5", like 250, 260, and he didn't score. And first off, I lost a bunch of money on that bet. So anyone else on the McAfee Super Boost bet that day, sorry for that. That sucked. But got to give it to the Dolphins, man. Very impressive start to the season. 3 very good wins. And they go right to the Bengals next week, which we'll see if they can win that one. The Jets have looked decent this year. And then Vikings are solid this year. Steelers are solid this year. Lions are solid this year. Steelers are iffy, actually, but some pretty tough games going forward. So they have probably one of the harder schedules in football to start the year. So I'm very interested to see where they go with that. So Next, everyone loves to talk about him. I don't love to talk about that much, but I do like this topic. The Dallas Cowboys 2-0 with Cooper Rush. Dudes, you would think for someone that no one has ever heard of before, unless you are a fan of his college, which I don't even know what college he went to off the top of my head. I know I looked it up the other day, but I can't remember right now. He's 2-0 right now, and he beat my Vikings last year on primetime. So he is currently 2-0 in primetime in his career, and then he's 2-0 this year. I'm not saying Dak's not the answer. I'm not, like, this is Dak's team 100%. But for Cooper Rush to come in and do what he has done so far, he's currently 6th in the league in QBR. That's actually really impressive for a backup. The reason I say that is because for someone like Cooper Rush to come into a Cowboys franchise, which probably has the most pressure in football, just because it's the biggest franchise. We all know Jerry's a psycho. I mean, it is super impressive for a guy from, there it is, Central Michigan. Come out so far. I mean, he's not doing anything crazy impressive, but he's throwing for over 200 yards both games. He's throwing touchdowns. And honestly, there's been some pretty bad drop balls that would really give him some good highlight throws. Like yesterday, CeeDee Lamb dropped a wide open bomb. So he's playing some super good football, and I don't think anyone would expect that from someone they've never heard before. That is one of the mind-blowing things for me in football is you get random guys like Cooper Rush that do really well, like the Ryan Fitzpatricks, like all these small name guys that like come through and do well. But then you see like these big prospects like Johnny Manziel throughout the years, and I don't know, RG3 after his was injury prone kind of stuff. But like these big Heisman Trophy guys that just flop in the NFL. It's so weird. It must just be a pressure thing at the end of the year, at the end of the day, but I don't know. It's kind of mind-blowing to me that there's so many bad backup quarterbacks in the NFL, and then you just get the random guys like Cooper Rush, and they just get it done. It's crazy. Tom Brady, is he, are we finally seeing the age catch up to him? You know, he's only 45. No. There was like 7 years ago where they said he was over the hump. Is he actually getting over the hump now at 45? I remember when they said to put Jimmy G over him, so that didn't work out very well since he's gone on to win a championship since then, at least one. But Tom Brady currently, the more Botox he gets in his face, the better he plays. Every week his face seems to be getting skinnier and skinnier, and the dude keeps playing solid. There is the one game every year or 2 games every year. For some reason, New Orleans just owns him since he's gone to Tampa Bay. I bet his under in that week because I was like, this dude gets owned by him every time he plays against New Orleans. They win the games typically, but like he only threw for 190 yards on like 52% completion, which is very bad for him. And then he goes on to Green Bay and he plays pretty well, but they catch the L. So I think Tampa Bay's in this weird spot right now where obviously like Mike Evans is suspended. There's injuries in their wide receiver core. There's all kinds of stuff going on always with that team since they won the championship. But Tom Brady, I think he's still going to go on to have a solid year. A lot of people were pressing the panic button early. He only has 3 touchdowns this far into the season. I think he's going to be okay. He's been around too long. The only thing I am worried about for him is the offense line hasn't been as good. He did get sacked 3 times against Green Bay, which we saw Daniel Jones last night get absolutely destroyed for the whole night. But at 45, 3 sacks hurts a lot more than when you're, 26 for Daniel Jones or whatever. So they really need to protect him better. I can't imagine getting hit by a 300-pound man at 45. I'm 28 years old, and I feel like that would hurt really bad. So, Tom Brady's going to just keep getting it done. I think that for fantasy owners, you might want to play it. If you have a solid backup, you might want to switch over to a better matchup for the week if you have a solid backup. But for the time being, he's going to be okay. They're going to make the playoffs, and I'm sure he'll pull off some magical run one more time in his career because that guy is touched by God. Next, the Philadelphia Eagles. The other 3-0 team in the league behind the Dolphins, not behind, but even with the Dolphins. It's been a very interesting year for them. This is probably the first time in NFL history that 2 running quarterbacks are the 2 best quarterbacks in the league to start the year. Jalen Hurts is having an unreal season so far. He's throwing for 300 yards a game with 55 yards rushing a game. And he's already rushed for 3 TDs and thrown 4 TDs. So he has, 7 total TDs already? The dude is playing some seriously good football. It's kind of interesting they both went to Alabama, too. Tua and Hurts, obviously, I'm talking about, since they're the 2 teams that are undefeated currently. Alabama just knows how to win, I guess. But they are playing some really good football. And the reason they're doing it, it's not just because the offense is playing well. Obviously, going out and getting A.J. Brown is big. Devonta Smith had a terrible week 1, but ever since then, it's been going off. He went for 170 this week. But the interesting thing about the Eagles, it's on the defensive end. As a Vikings fan, I've never been so frustrated on a Monday night game. Obviously, Kirk Cousins Monday night. That really wasn't Kirk's fault. It was more the offensive line's fault for not picking up the blitzes, but they are playing a risky game right now. They are just blitzing everyone whenever they want and just sending it. It's probably going to come back and get them later in the year, I bet, defensively, but right now they are blitzing at a crazy rate and just making teams uncomfortable. And going forward, they have a big game coming up this week. I believe they have Jacksonville. The reason I say that's a big game is because T-Law has shown up, guys. We knew that he had too much talent not to, and that Jacksonville team is looking very good. But they have 3 tough games in a row. They have Jacksonville, Arizona, which I'm from Arizona, so I'm a little biased, but they're not an easy game ever. They're just kind of up in the air right now because Cliff Kingsbury is a terrible coach. And then the Dallas Cowboys. So we're either going to see a 6-0 Eagles team or a 3-3 Eagles team. You never know with them. So, I mean, they look really good. But like I said, they're playing a risky game on defense, and it's paying off so far. Which, I mean, you can get away with early in the year. You can get away with all this risky stuff. Will it work later in the year when you have all this film and all this stuff? I don't know. But as of right now, it's working great for them. And then last but not least, guys, this is the number one most shocking thing for me, and I think a lot of people. I drafted him in fantasy football this year. I was ready to ride. Russell Wilson has been awful, and it has terrorized my fantasy team for 2 close losses. I'm 1-2 so far, and he has done terrible in both of the games that I lost, and it was a close game in both of them. So far this season, he is at a 59.4% completion rating, which I think is a valid stat to go off of for him because he's a lifetime 65%, which is very good. And then we all know he's not the biggest thrower downfield throughout his life. He has a great deep ball, but he's always been making moves in the backfield with his feet and creating plays. This new offense that they are running with him, they're not letting that happen. You see it every once in a while in the games because it's just built in them. But they want to do the Aaron Rodgers offense where you're just doing quick passes and finessing. And Aaron Rodgers has probably some of the best accuracy the NFL's ever seen. Russell Wilson, yes, he's a very accurate thrower, but he does it with his feet. When he's on the run, he is arguably the best quarterback in football. He is so good when he gets out of the pocket, creating space with his feet and just using his athletic ability. When he's throwing the ball on the run, it just looks so much more natural than when he's in the pocket, which is crazy for most people, but it's just the way he is. So, is it panic time? He's been sacked 9 times in 3 games, which is nothing new to him. He's never played with a good offensive line in his life. I think this Denver offensive line is probably the best line he's ever had. And the only reason he's getting sacked so much is because he's not using his feet. So I think they're going to have to make some adjustments. It's inevitable. They're not going to allow that to happen all year. But, man, I am a little worried at the moment with 2 touchdown passes and 1 interception with the 21st ranked QBR in the league. So that's week 3 in football. Our little recap of what I found important / surprising so far. Hope you guys did enjoy today's video. In the future, if you guys want to see some clips on this, you guys want to see some other stuff from the NFL, anything topics you want to talk on, let me know. Like I said, I'm moving for roughly the next month because we have to rebuild our new house and all this stuff with new flooring, new paint, and we're going to figure that all out later. But I'm going to try to get more content out because I just want to. The NFL season is too much fun. So let me know what you guys want to talk about. If there's anything from other sports like baseball you want me to touch on, Let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.